I'm going to start with you, Eben. People use the term user and consumer somewhat interchangeably. In our dialogue, you took a little bit of issue with that. What is the difference in your mind between a user and a consumer? And I guess the question is, how can users best use their power in 2011?
The people we're calling users built the net. They're not something unnecessary to it, and they're not the end point in it. Vint and I and everybody else who wrote code and created communities are users, and we built the net. The net we built had the properties that Vint said he wanted in a net in the future. It had anonymity, it had security, it had openness, it had transparency. We are now in the process of watching 4 kinds of forces trying to take the net away from us. Governments, which, as Vince says, are afraid of the reframing power of a dialogue democratically undertaken. Content owners, as they call themselves, who believe their bits are sacred, and who believe that the entire engineering of the net should be reshaped at any moment in order to protect the sacredness of their bits against the 2 things that networks are for: 1, copying bits, and 2, sharing bits. The data miners, who have a business model for industry in the 21st century, which is to figure out what you want before you know yourself and sell you to an advertiser quickly. And the network operators, whose job it is to break our networks and sell us the repairs. Those 4 forces put together are building a net which lacks anonymity, transparency, security, and the other things that Vince says he wants. And the reason is they don't work for us, they work for themselves. The important point about users is we use the net to do what we want. And the net, which is being technically redesigned beneath us, the one we made HTTP, we made Perl, we made Python, we made Linux, we made the stuff the net is made of. Don't be fooled into thinking somebody else made it and provided it to you. We made it. The net we made is being distorted. Power is being taken away from the edge and concentrated in the center. The net Vint was talking about has nodes which are peers. The very idea that there is such a thing as a servant and a client, or a master and a slave, or a consumer and a provider, is an cultural imposition on the technology of the net. What users are going to do next is they're going to take power back to the edge. In the same way that they have in media, in the same way that they have in software, we're going to do it with the net itself. By eliminating the idea that there are servers and then there are clients, and that there are customers and then there are providers. This is a 21st century server. As powerful as the server that sits on a rack or under a desk or on it, using about 1/10 as much power and providing all of the communications facilities that you would expect a service-providing computer on the net to have, as well as a couple of radios for making mesh. Never mind the suitcase. They're the State Department. They pack heavy. Our net is going to be made of small, cheap devices which are going to contain free software whose purpose is to serve privacy, to serve transparency, to serve anonymity to us. Vint is correct about what we want, he's correct about what we need, and he and we are the people who know how to make it. We're going to have free telephony. That is, safe telephony, secure telephony, accessible telephony, inexpensive telephony. And network operators are going to have a little trouble. We're going to have anonymous publication and sharing, and content owners are not going to have sacred bits. We're going to throw down governments that hurt people, that tear out their fingernails, that destroy them. And we're going to make it difficult to data mine people because we're going to restore the anonymity, which is the absolute fundamental requirement of decent human life. The project I'm working on at the moment is called Freedom Box. It's not this. This is capitalism. It takes care of itself. It's just free software. It's just an SD card load to take things like this and make them serve you instead of someone else. We're going to carpet bomb the net with freedom. It's going to work. We're going to get what we want. The people who don't want us to get what we want can stuff it. Thank you very much.